Yeah, I think that's proof that it's working. Sounds like it's a fan issue though. Might need cleaning out and repasting too. Might as well do that.
Back in the hole!
Okay, to get further down into the PlayStation requires removal of the power supply, the blu-ray drive. Alright, and now we're down to the main board with its many screws. Let's check out the hard drive. So we have a screw there for the Wi-Fi antenna, some screws for the shielding, screw for that ground point. Let's pull that out because that's power to the main board. Oh, that is hot. Yeah, this might have been just in time to get this done. So we've got big screws here on the outside and little screws here. They're marked with M, so I'm going to do the M's first. I'm not going to show you taking out all these screws, it's just screws. You know how to take out screws. You use a screwdriver and you take them out and you make sure the screwdriver is the right size head and you take them out and it's easy. These ones for the CPU clamp. This is a CPU and RSX clamps. Except for the CPU in the PlayStation 3, we're talking about the cell. Sony's great failure. Not that it was a failure in itself, it was an impressively spec'd CPU with a lot of power and a lot of redundancy. But because it wasn't a standard CPU, it was tricky to code for, which meant it was tough to get the best out of it, which meant a lot of low-platform games like your GTAs and your Need for Speeds and your Call of Duties ran better on the 360 because it was basically just a PC. It was basically a power PC CPU, but the games that were coded specifically for it, your Uncharted's and your Gran Turismo's, looked fantastic. GT5 and 6 still hold up pretty well to this day, I would say. Okay, let's see, can we lift off this heat shielding and this bracket? I'll take off that, that Wi-Fi antenna. Come on. Okay, so this is the top of the motherboard. They're the infamous token caps that can cause the yellow light of death on earlier models. They got better on later models like this one, but on the earlier models, yeah, the death of many a 60 gig console. I think I can just lift this board off this shielding now. It's only held down basically by the adhesion of the thermal paste, but I think just double check everything. Yeah, I think this should all just lift out. The shielding and ports stick in. I think you can take off that plate actually. This plate should just clip. You tell me that was all that was holding that in place with that one screw. Alright, based on the guide I consulted online, it should just be a case of removing the board at this point, so I'm going to get a plastic spludger of some sort. Oh, that's bending that board way too much. No, we don't like that. Ah, there we go. Brute force and ignorance. Oh, that's, yeah. Not a lot left. Still a little bit damp, amazingly in places, but most of that has got to go. And there's our CMOS battery that's dead. I'll actually just fire it on the multimeter. So I think these are 3 volts. Yeah, 3 volts. So, yeah, 0.3 microvolts. Can we use the electric light? Yeah, we can. Yeah, 0.2, 0.3 millivolts. So that is fecid. So we need to get a replacement for that. So I want to clean out the fan and stuff too, and repaste it in the board. Do you know what? These aren't that bad to work on. Compared to a PS4, they're alright. That's actually not too bad. I thought that was going to be crustier or dustier. Maybe somebody's been in here before. Or maybe it just was a machine that didn't juice. I mean, these are really not a bad machine to work on. They all kind of make sense. I forget if I've ever done a PS3 Slim or not. You just take that panel out. There's your wee switching off. All in one. They were derided when they first came out, and I think the 60 gigs are a bit more of a pain in the arse to work on than these later revisions of the Fatty, but that big ass fan. Sunday. You could cool in a car engine with that. Badly, but you could do it. Yeah, there we go. Just a bracket for that. And there is our heatsink. So, prepare to fill my own lungs with somebody else's dust in 3, 2, 1. You generally get dust in a console or computer that smells of 3 things: air freshener and deodorant, cigarette smoke, and mold. Thankfully, this one is the air freshener / deodorant. Actually smells quite nice. So props to the previous owners for that. And it's surprisingly clean. So just a quick once over for that. Now I'll put that to the side. I'll bring out the IPA. Oh, can you touch that heatsink? No, you can't. It's wobbly. It's cool. Sorry, tangent. ADHD. So we're going to take isopropyl alcohol, 100%, 99%. Other percentages are available. Cotton bud, and just apply some of the cotton bud. Oh, Jesus, glitting straight off. That's good. Get rid of all this old rusty, crusty stuff. Come along now, the cloth. Just go over it one more time with a bit more IPA. Cloth and the IPA, and just, yeah, there we go. Look at that. Lovely. Alright, we'll do a nice closer up shot now this time. So I'm not sure how much you can see in that last one. Just gonna pour a bit of the IPA right on there. Oh yeah. Don't make inappropriate noises. This does not excite me. But I do enjoy the cleaning process. But it does not excite me. There we go. Ugh. Should have bent the fin. Yeah, you need to be careful on them fins, apparently. That was something I did not know. And now I do. Now I do a similar job on the CPU itself. On GPU. So one of them is the cell that I was talking about earlier, the very fancy brain, and the other one is the graphics chip, the RSX, which is like reality synthesizer, I think is what RSX stands for. Because, you know, bleh, what a stupid name. Is it better than the PS2's Emotion Engine though? I don't know, maybe it's nostalgia, but I kind of like Emotion Engine. So is it just better than calling it a GPU? Maybe. So that one is the cell. So this one is the RSX. Reality synthesizer. I forget what the X is for. I don't know, is it, I think the Acura version of the DC4 Integra was called an RSX, which is what I always think of when I hear of RSX, because I'm an idiot. So be very careful working on the board that you don't take off a cap or something with your cloth. Well, I have yous. Shall we have a quick look around this board and I'll tell you what's what in it. The cell, the big bad wolf, the RSX, the graphics, that's the Southbridge chip, we've got the NEC token caps, we've got Samsung, that's the RAM, that is, not sure. Up here we've got the Wi-Fi. This is where the two prongs on the bottom of the power supply go. I'll show you one of them now. See, there, that's where they come from. There's our USB slots on the front. I think that's our Alps. That's usually a controller, so that might be for the controllers or the Bluetooth. That's the SATA port for the hard drive. Various capacitors and MOSFETs and stuff that I don't understand. Probably some power stuff, and I'm assuming that Panasonic then, considering it goes from the RSX to that chip to the HDMI port, I'm assuming that's some sort of HDMI or video chip. Then we've got our ports on the back. We've got our Ethernet, HDMI, digital audio, and our old analog video, because this is one of the last consoles that still had analog video output, the last generation. I think there were versions of the Xbox 360 you could get that didn't actually have HDMI. And on the back of the board we've just got more of the token caps and some more RAM. Is really all there is to see there. And then I think that is the ribbon that we plug the DVD, a Blu-ray drive into, and that's the power supply for the fan. Power supply in, Blu-ray drive in, there's our power buttons. Yeah. On older revisions they're actually on a separate board, but on this revision it's all tied together. Right, let's start putting this bad boy back together. Oh wait, I will just dust off this board a bit just to get rid of any dust bunnies and crud and crap that might potentially cause a short. Do you know what I'm actually going to do before I forget? I'm going to grab that battery. Oh look, the bottom of the... That's from the bottom of the cell. Got those caps there. Just slightly interested. Right, I'll be back with the battery. I'm back with the button cell battery. I thought I had some new ones, but no, I didn't. So I had to rob this one out of a card reader for an Ulster Bank account that no longer exists, because it's a bank that no longer exists in this country. Actually, I'm just going to test the voltage before we go any further. The card reader was working, so it should be okay. But work on absolutes here, not shoulds. 2.97, perfect. Now, that's that done. So, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start to rebuild the base a bit. I'll show you thermal pasting, and then we'll come back to it when it's all back together. There we go, that's it dropped into place. Drop the shroud in first, I think, and then the fan. For more bullshit. And that needs a little dusting actually. These things I have, they're actually for car interiors. These brushes, have a whole set of them, and they're actually really good for computers. Would highly recommend if you're in the game. or if you're looking to get into it. I got mine in Lipton's of Clones, shout out, but you can get them anywhere. Price and quality varies. They were a fairly cheap one, but they work pretty well. Right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste the RSX and the cell, and then I'm going to put them back in the drawer. So there are lots of discussions about the best way to put on thermal paste. I am a fan of the X method myself, because as we all know, X gonna give it to you. Maybe a little bit more because it's a big surface area. And same again. And same again. A little bit more there because there is a lot of surface area. Something I learned actually putting UV glue when I was doing phone screens, when I would actually just take the glass off the LCD. Horrible job, pain in the ass, but whenever you press it down in the X, it all spreads out and fills up its sort of area, and then it gives you better coverage, I find. But there will be 1,000,001 videos on YouTube telling me how I'm wrong, so you just do what works for you. That's what works for me. Right. Do I need to put anything else on before I continue? No, I don't. There we go. When we put our clamps back on, that will make sure that the CPU and the RSX then clamp on to the heatsink, and that's what gives you your good. What's this around here? That's just factory flux. I might try clean some of that off before we go. Anyway, I'm just going to put this back together, and when it's back together we'll do a test. So we've everything pretty much back together again, but when I was taking apart the spares machine, I noticed that its lid, although not in excellent condition, isn't much worse than the other one, but that bit isn't broken. So I'm going to use it because I think it's more important to have that cover on secure than for it to be highly polished. I mean, it's an old console, and maybe I can get some kind of plastic polish for it, and that'll do something. So I'll take the screw out, get everything lined up, and just slide it over. Brilliant. Plug for that screw, and get the door for the HDMI. Oh, not the HDMI. Oh, we need the screw for the hard drive. The blue screw has gotten away from us. Let's see, does this one still have it? If I remember correctly. Give me a minute to look around the floor, and then I'll see if I can find it, and then yeah, we'll just play on. I am not unburdened with PlayStation 3s. I have a couple of dead 60 gigs that I'm trying to do something with at some stage. Do the token cap repairs on them. But I just borrowed one of them from this for now, and I'll find that other one at another point. It'll show up, they always do. Right, let's test. Alright, time to test. Is the old hamburger grill still working? Yes. Although, do you honestly think that I didn't do any testing of this off camera, like when I was putting it back together? That's only a mistake you make about 8 or 9 times, to test things before you fully seal them up. So that's why, hopefully, the clock cap, or the clock Irishing back, yeah, it has saved the time. You can see that in the top corner. Right, let's go through and make sure everything works. Good. Oh, an update's required. On PlayStation 3. They're still doing updates. I thought that was dead about 10 years ago. No patch notes. Red Summer's got something to do with SSL sorts as well. So yeah, I think it's just to make sure that the thing can still work, even though they're not supported anymore. Yeah, let's update it. The amount of my life I spend looking at a flippin' loading bar. Anyway, we'll come back when it's done. Alright, that's that unexpected update finished with. So it's on the Wi-Fi. It'll play and load games. Oh yes, one final thing to test. Where are you, F1? Like a bit of plastic from the shell has dropped down. And it's causing trouble. Get back in your home. Oh my god, am I going to have to glue this or use a different shell? I am! I'm going to have to do it. For flip's sakes! Right, I got the droopy bit fixed. It just clicked back into place, thankfully. If you're having problems with anything else that may be drooping, I'm afraid I can't help you there. It goes beyond my training as a furniture salesman. Right, let's get a disc into this thing. Alright, this time it's gonna work. Okay, we've taken the disc, nice. We'll see, will the disc pop up? And it automatically is launched. Right, now we're just gonna remove the disc. This is the bit we had trouble with last time. Hooray! It's working! I am calling that a fix. Wait, that's not where my focus is. Let me try that again. I can do this. I can do this. Want to do it again, okay? Yeah, that's a fix.